Thank you for joining Paranormal XL for another episode. I am your host, Gigi, and with me until the end is Mary of Spiritual Voices. How was your week, Mama Mary?
It was great. How about you?
It was long, filled with work and wedding stuff and learning new podcast stuff.
Well, that's always fun.
Yes, I am excited to see where this podcast is going to take us. So this week it is going to take us to superstitions and where they started and that I'm going to edit. So let's talk paranormal. What are some superstitions you believe in or have heard about?
Well, I am not superstitious per se. I think my favorite thing, especially when I was doing my research, is the horseshoe. And I have a horseshoe above my door. It's always something that I felt that I should really do. Not really sure why, but when I started researching, I found it fascinating because it went back to a story about a blacksmith. And his name was Dustin. And then one day, a man with hooked feet came in and wanted a pair of, he wanted to be shoed with a pair of horseshoes. And he thought that request was weird. Well, in this legend, it ended up being the devil. And so what he did was he put on a pair of horseshoes that, would burn every time the devil walked. And then he made a deal with the devil that he would take them off as long as he promised that he would never step into a holy ground. And then that blacksmith later became a bishop. So I kind of found that an interesting type legend that's why you put horseshoes above the door, is because it represents that and it protects your home. And that's why back in medieval times you would see doors that were shaped like horseshoes because they carried that legend with them. Okay. And that's where the horseshoe legend came from.
Well, what about horseshoes being related back to luck?
Same thing. So if you were going to protect your home with a horseshoe, above your door you would put the ends pointing up. So if you want to bring in abundance and prosperity and luck, you point them down. And some people even put them together in a circle so that you get both. Or next to each other.
Huh. I might have to get myself some horseshoes and redecorate. So we'll start it off with the meaning of superstition and what the dictionary says it is. It's excessively credulous. Okay. The meaning of superstition is excessively credulous belief and reverence for supernatural beings. Also, it is a pejorative term for any belief or practice that is considered irrational or supernatural. For example, if it arises from ignorance or a misunderstanding of science or casualty, a positive belief in fate or magic or fear of that which is unknown. That is what Wikipedia says in the Webster's Dictionary.
Something I learned too that I found fascinating was a lot of the legends and the superstitions come back from just people developing little habits to make themselves feel better and more secure about what they're doing.
Yeah.
And so that's where a lot of them develop, is to make themselves feel safer, and they just carry on from generations.
Oh yeah. Like I said in episode 1, going back, that we use superstitions way more than we ever think about, really. I mean, day to day. With
everything we do, sort of like that saying where getting out on the wrong side of the bed came from.
Oh yeah,
that's a cool story, because with that it was because they used to fear that if you got off on the right side of the bed, you would be doomed or bring bad luck. So they always got out on the other side of the bed. So that's where that saying came from, if somebody was grouchy or having a bad day.
Get up on the wrong side of the bed. Man, I get asked that a lot.
I was gonna say, I too. Yeah, that happens all the time.
A superstition, or I guess myth, that I've always liked is a penny from heaven. If you find a penny wherever you are walking or whatever you're doing, it's someone from heaven saying hello. I have a story with that. My son, a few years back, he was probably, I think he was in young fives. He came home and said that one of his classmates found a penny, but he got in an argument about it. And I was like, well, what for? And he's like, well, that was my penny. My Aunt Jane wanted to say hello to me, and that little girl would not give me her penny. And I'm like, buddy, oh. And I was very heartwarming. Oh, so sweet.
Did he manage to get his penny at all?
No, he didn't. But for a while there, until he got a little older, he would go around looking for pennies. Aunt Jane's all over the place. So Another popular penny superstition is find a penny, pick it up, you'll have good luck all day. There's another one that kind of that stemmed from see a pin, pick it up, and all day long you will have good luck. See a pin, let it lay, and luck will pass away. In ancient societies, they thought certain metals such as copper were gifts from the gods and were meant to protect humanity. That's where the pennies came in, because they are the only.
Yeah, that makes total sense because, just like with the horseshoe thing, a lot of that, the luck comes from the idea that it's made of iron. The Greeks really believed the same thing, where those metals brought good luck, just like I think it was Thor with his hammer.
Thor.
Yeah, I know, right?
Everybody needs a Thor.
Oh, I'm just going to pinch his nipples.
Oh, Lord, this just got X-rated.
This just got deep. Well, anyhow... Well, no, that story about the penny, though, I really feel that that's actually true, because I experienced that myself. Like with my dad, I always feel like he always leaves dimes, and I know he does. And I think spirit in general, when they want to relay messages, will leave pennies and dimes. And I remember I was having a bad day, and I came into work, and I know this is like a spiritual thing, but it was really weird because there was a note sitting on my desk and there was a dime sitting on it, and it said, Mary, someone left this for you. And I'm like, I was ornery, so I was like,
right.
What?
Oh, you woke up on the wrong side of the bed?
I did, and I was like, what the heck? Why would somebody? That's stupid. Why would they leave me a dime? And then I heard in my head, no, not the dime. Look at the time. And so that's what they say about pennies too, is to turn it over and look at the date, because the date will have a message for you. That's part of the message. And so I flipped it over, and it was the year that the happiest year when I was growing up, before you learn that life sucks. And so I remembered back of that, and I'd had a dream the night before of my old house when I was growing up, and like a lot of things clicked. So those are signs and messages. I totally believe that. Sometimes maybe it's not a loved one, but it's from a guide or an angel. But
a message
definitely
of some sort.
Always look at the date.
I'll have to remember that and let Ethan know that. I just thought that was such a cute story, but I don't ever want him to fight in school over a penny, that's for sure, but it was so sweet.
Well, the Dreamcatcher, too, when we get into this a little bit more, I have a great story for him about that Dreamcatcher thing, when I research it some more, and why everybody's so fascinated with it.
There's some really, really pretty Dreamcatchers out there. All right, another popular one is black cats. This one's kind of fun, because I love animals. I'm not necessarily a cat person. I don't hate cats. But black kitties, I think, are extra special.
They are.
Oh, little kitty, like kittens with their green eyes, and they're like, meow, love me. Yeah. And then people just used to want to hurt them and exterminate them.
I know.
It's those darn witches.
I'm telling you. See, for me, though, when I see a black cat, I see it as good luck. And I'm hoping that it crosses my path, because for me, I think it's going to bring me good luck. I think they're special.
They are special. But cats, they played all sorts of mythological roles. Ancient Egypt, cats were revered. As we know, in today's world, we love them as pets. More than 81 million kitties as pets.
Oh,
imagine the ones that are like undocumented, running around there, getting your garbage. That's a lot. But this superstition arises from old beliefs in witches, of course. And we just love witches. Witches and their families, which were said to take the form of domestic animals like cats. In the Middle Ages, when people saw black cats, they thought of the devil, and they tried to get rid of all of them. Black cats, as we know, are no different from any other loving kitty, but at the time they were associated with witchcraft. Europeans thought of black cats being a witch's familiar, which made it to America during the Salem witch trials, which we will get into that, because that's where our story, our past life story, kind of comes into play.
Begins,
Heck yeah. So I thought that was kind of neat, but that's when that superstition really came to America, because it was over in Europe and Egypt and all that for centuries and centuries, but it came over with the Salem witch trials, and that became like a huge thing where they just wanted to exterminate all the black kitties because they thought they were witches. Which is, ridiculous now that we think about it, but back then they didn't know any better.
Poor kitties.
I know. They're like, we're just trying to be kitties and catch your mice, and here you are thinking that we're witches. What's a witch? Any other thoughts on that one? The black kitties?
I just, like I said, I see them as good luck. I know some
They're
people
so
are
pretty.
like, oh no, across my path there's going to be bad luck, but...
Or you'll see people driving, and they'll see one, and they'll, like, speed up their car. Well, some people just do that.
Yeah.
Anyway, for any cat, but really with black cats, I'm like, that black kitty didn't do anything to you.
I know.
But, next one on the agenda is the mirror. Breaking a mirror, 7 years bad luck.
Oh, I like this one.
Do ya?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I've broken lots.
Yeah,
Lots and lots of mirrors.
Yeah, me too. It's a good thing I'm not superstitious.
I've had bad luck. I guess I am to a point just because, I don't know. Maybe it's fun, a comforting thing.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of goes back to the not having an answer for why something happened.
And finding an answer for it.
Yeah, even though it's utterly ridiculous, you know.
Yeah.
But it's an answer.
The brain, too, will tend to remember the bad things versus the good. So, sort of like that Friday the 13th thing. If something bad happens to you on Friday the 13th, you're going to chalk it up to it was Friday the 13th. But if the same thing happens the next day, it's just because it happened.
But, yeah. Just on that certain day. So, the folklore on the breaking the mirror and getting 7 years bad luck says a mirror is a sure way to get yourself 7 years bad luck. The superstition came from the belief that mirrors don't just reflect, they hold bits of our souls. That belief led people back in the days of American South to cover all the mirrors in their homes when someone died, lest their soul be trapped inside. The 7 years bad luck came from 7 being associated with good luck. People have tried to countermeasure this bad luck. One way is to touch a piece of the broken mirror to a tombstone or grinding the mirror shards into powder, which is, I just thought was very odd. Ancient Romans believed that the mirrors contained bits of our souls, so breaking a mirror signified a break in someone's health and well-being. They also believed the souls regenerated every 7 years. The amount of time the mirror break would be unlucky. After the 7 years, they were to emerge new and whole again.
That is fascinating, isn't it?
History behind it. Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed that's where it came from, or it was weird.
Well, it just shows how different cultures develop it into their own thing too. You go way back, and they have their own way of thinking with it, and then it carries on to the Deep South.
Oh, right.
Where they develop their own meaning to it, and it's all fascinating. And I think all of it holds a little bit of truth in some shape or form. Every superstition or myth,
it had to start somewhere.
It comes from some kind of truth.
Yeah. The breaking of the mirror. Oh, such a scary thing. All right. How about the knock on wood, which we are surrounded in? There we go. I love that one. And you're like, oh, I didn't get hurt today. Better knock on wood. I say I need to knock on wood all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that is like one of the ones I use definitely the most.
But that kind of goes, I don't know why knocking on wood wouldn't help the 7 years bad luck, because this superstition is designed to ward off bad luck.
Should we try to go break a mirror and knock on wood?
Let's not.
Let's not chance it.
Yeah, no chances. Like I just said, the superstition is designed to ward off bad luck after tempting fate. Breaking that mirror didn't bring me bad luck so far. I better knock on wood. Why wood? This may come from old myths about good spirits and trees, or from the association with the cross. There are like phrases in other languages suggesting that the desire not to upset a spiteful universe is common.
And something to add with that is, like in Germany, if you were going to meet friends for a beer, and you walk into the bar, where we would normally just wave hi and greet them, they don't. You knock on wood. Because if you don't knock on the table when you walk up, it's a sign of disrespect, and that you're wishing them ill will, and that you're wishing them bad luck. And that stems from, like, they've always revered the trees, and they always believed that the devil hated oak, and that he could not reside in it. And so that's why they knock on wood, is to ward off evil.
Huh.
So
if we did that here, people would look at us like we're ridiculous, and we'd probably get kicked out of the bar.
Just so you know, though, so if you go to Germany and we have a beer, our asses are gonna be grass if we don't knock on the wood.
Start going knocking on every piece of wood. This one is, I've used this one since I was little. We all do. Making the wish on the wishbone.
Well,
Do you know any history on that?
Actually, I don't. No,
Really?
I don't. I just know that I cheat by holding the top as much as I can.
And you're always trying to find the weakest person, like the littlest kid. Here, I'll do the wishbone with you.
I win.
Yes. The tradition of who wants the wishbone at the Thanksgiving dinner goes back a long way. Legend has it that first century Romans used to fight over dried wishbones. They believed they were good luck and would break them on accident, which is, When that happened, they would say whoever had the biggest piece gets their wish. Bird bones have also been used throughout history with a supposed soothsayer throwing the bones and reading their patterns to predict the future.
Oh yeah, yep. I have seen readers who do this now.
Okay.
Yep.
See, when I picture like somebody, I guess, throwing bones, I think back of like Native Americans. Now is that an Indian thing?
And it could be, yeah.
Tribal.
I think the voodoo type things, and it's just a different way of reading. It's kind of sort of like reading tea leaves. You put your leaves in the tea, you drink the tea, and you let it, fall on the bottom, and you look at it and see what's there.
All right.
What kind of comes to mind, almost like looking at the clouds and seeing animals in the clouds.
Right.
It's kind of the same thing, just a different concept.
Huh. Strange. I thought that was weird that people would fight over big bones and want to break them. I thought I had more on that, but apparently I didn't. But it was interesting that people, the history behind it. But what about the crossing your fingers? I've done this ever since I was little too.
When I was looking up that too, and from what I saw, that it comes from like a Christian thing where, almost it was like a secret handshake way back when Christians were being persecuted, as to know that you were a Christian and the other person was a Christian, but without saying it out loud.
Yeah.
That's part of what I heard, but I think there's a lot more to that.
There's a little bit from the research that I did. Speaking of all this luck, this one goes back to early Christianity. The story says that two people used to cross index fingers when making a wish, a symbol of support from a friend to the person making the wish.
Oh, that's fascinating. Yeah.
Anything associated with the shape of the Christian cross was thought to be good luck, which makes sense because it was in the past. The tradition became something people could do on their own, and nowadays just saying fingers crossed is good enough. I don't think it's good enough. I don't buy that. I want to see your fingers crossed.
Heck yeah.
Or a pinky swear.
That's right. You better be getting it out there.
That's what I was going with that. The pinky swear. My kids and I, we pinky swear all the time. Not with that one. Or we say pinky square because when Ethan was little, he just called it square, and we never, you want pinky square, Mom? Yep, we're going to pinky square. So that's our promise to each
sort of
other.
just like the thing when you're going across the railroad tracks, and you're riding on a bus, and you put your fingers crossed up on the, whatever that would be the screws.
Yeah.
So the bus will fall apart. Yeah. Or when you go by a cemetery and you cross your fingers.
Cemeteries. There is. We got to go to some that are over by my house because there are some really old ones. Oh. And just, they look really creepy only because, that's what we're kind of brought up to think, that they look creepy. But I think it would be like so interesting.
We also have to go up to Brimley because they have a Native American cemetery there, but they also have like a very, very old cemetery. And that's like lots of activity in that cemetery.
Oh, that would be cool. I stopped by where Grandpa and Grandma are buried when I went to visit Stephanie last weekend, and stopped by, say hello, and I always like it there because that's like an old farm cemetery, and it's so neat. And like when you get up like where the church is or whatever, when I drive out, I always go real slow and I try to look, but some of them are just so old, they're falling apart and stuff, and that kind of makes me sad. But it's so neat to know that, wow, that's been there like this long. I think
just down the road too is a Quaker cemetery. You
wouldn't
really? Yeah, down. I think it's on Guy Road, and you wouldn't know it's there because it looks like an old dirt path that goes way up a hill. If you didn't know it was there, you wouldn't think that it was. But that is an amazing set. It has a good feel to it when you walk into it. It's very old. It's awesome.
Yeah, we'll have to take a cemetery day and go on some visits. Yay!
Your dad's always rolling his eyes at me. I'm like, "There's a cemetery. Let's go." And he's like, "Oh gosh." He's good enough to just do it.
I know.
He just
What a
puts
good
up
man.
with it. Poor guy.
That is funny. This one I know that we talked about throughout the week, the umbrellas. No umbrellas inside or putting them up inside. What are your thoughts on that one?
Well, actually, you know more about that than I do. I know that it comes, stems from the Egyptians and the way they do things. What was your favorite part about it?
Royalty.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
I'm a princess.
Oh, yeah.
Well, obviously it brings bad luck. It brings bad luck, as we all know, or so they say. Legends abound from a story of an ancient Roman woman who happened to have opened her umbrella moments before her house collapsed, to the tale of a British princess who accepted 2 umbrellas from a visiting king and died within months. Egyptians believed umbrellas were royal and the shade they gave off was sacred. To open inside was an insult to the god of the sun.
I could definitely see that, yeah.
Yeah, I like that one better. There's actually a couple other stories that they say, like the woman she opened it and then something bad happened to her afterwards, and that's
I like
kind of
the idea of honoring a god and cherishing
yeah.
something.
I like the god of the sun thing better than I like. Well, okay, this woman opened it up and bad things happened to her afterwards.
And I believe that would be Ra, the sun god, if I remember correctly. That was their sun god.
And it made sense. It also told what they would make their umbrellas out of, which was like peacock feathers and stuff, which I
Really?
would love to see one of those. I bet it is so pretty, not like our plastic umbrellas now where
Yeah, that would be cool to see.
we don't open them up inside because it's dangerous and probably somebody's going to get poked in the eye or whatever.
That old saying, you're gonna poke somebody's eye out.
Exactly. Okay, everybody's familiar with this one. Friday the 13th. This one we could talk about for a while. I found it very interesting how they put the Friday and the 13th together. 2 completely different things.
Well, yeah.
Which was odd.
Mm-hmm.
And I
don't know. Maybe because Friday would be the day that most people would get in trouble because it's the weekend, and the 13th makes it worse. Who knows?
Right? Well, yeah, 13 is just a bad number, and the reasons that they say are odd. So my research took me into finding all this out. So the Friday the 13th superstition dates back to the late 1800s, which really isn't that far considering where some of these have came, ancient Roman, like way, way back. Friday has long been considered an unlucky day according to Christian tradition. Jesus died on a Friday. So, okay, that makes sense. And the number 13 is just unlucky. It is unlucky due to Judas, the man who betrayed Jesus. He was the 13th guest to arrive at the Last Supper in the New Testament for the Bible. Also the one that spilt the salt, hence the salt over the shoulder
Well,
thing.
that would explain, too, why, they consider if you invite 13 guests to a dinner, that 13th guest is going to have bad luck.
Yes.
So I bet that's where that comes from then.
And then also a 13th guest was Loki. Thor's brother, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I just like Thor. I don't.
Well, we won't talk about that again.
As we know, Loki. He was what I don't want to say the god of trouble, but what's the word I'm looking for?
Mayhem.
Yeah, god of mayhem. In Norse mythology, he also arrived number 13 at an elegant dinner party and tricked another guest. Oh, the trickster. That's what
There
they
you
call them. He arrived 13 at an elegant dinner party and tricked another guest into shooting the god of joy with an arrow.
Oh.
That's sad. Damn it, Loki.
Took the joy right out of that dinner.
Yeah, he did. But he was also the 13th guest, so I don't know if there's other. If they just went with, okay, they're the 13th guest and we're just going to make 13 bad. But I think it's kind of neat how that played out, I suppose. But I do have some side notes to Friday the 13th. According to the Stress Management Center and Phobia Institute in North Carolina, about 17 million people fear Friday the 13th. People fall prey to the human's mind's desire to associate thought and symbols with events. If anything bad happens to you on Friday the 13th, the two will forever be associated in your mind, which you said.
Yeah.
This came quoted from Thomas Gilovich, a psychologist at Cornell University. And then all those uneventful days after that will just be ignored.
Mm-hmm.
Like the same thing could happen the Wednesday following that Friday, but you're not going to think, you're just,
It wouldn't
okay, I
make
just
any
had a bad day.
difference,
Yeah.
yeah.
I just woke up on the wrong side of the bed. But you have to associate it back with Friday the 13th, and it's just bad. You got anything? Oh.
Well, I wanted to share a couple of my favorite ones. One that I thought was, I don't know, I thought it was kind of funny, is in Nigeria, they believe that if you were to hit a man with a broom, it would
I'm listening.
it would make him impotent, or maybe even his male parts disappear.
So what you're saying is we go after our exes and beat them with brooms.
Yeah.
And then we ride off on them.
But we also run because they also believe that if they were able to get the broom away from you and hit you 5 times, then they would get their private parts back.
Well, I don't think they'd be hitting back. You make sure you just hit him hard enough. He's not going to get that broom out of your hands.
In Japan, they, numbers are everything, and I truly believe that, pay attention to numbers because it's a way of seeing signs and symbols and figuring things out and receiving messages. But like Japan, they're really big on that, the number 8. And it's because the number 8 sounds close to their word for prosperity.
Okay.
So I think back at the Olympics of 2018, if you look that up, all their dates were 8s.
Really?
It started at 8 o'clock. It was on the 8th. It was kind of fascinating how some people will take as much as they can and put it in one thing to create that good luck. Like the lucky rabbit. Maybe somebody has a horseshoe and the rabbit's foot and all that stuff in their purse.
I had the story of the rabbit's foot. I don't know why I didn't put it in this for this episode. I'm trying to remember. It was kind of
fascinating.
Yeah.
It has kind of creeped me out that you were carrying around a rabbit's foot.
Yeah, slightly.
A little bit. But, hey, whatever it takes to bring luck.
Yeah, to each their own, I guess.
And this is what I want to share with Ethan. This is what I find really fascinating about dream catchers. I've always loved dream catchers. I've always really connected with, the Native American ways. I've always researched it. But I never really, I don't know why, but I never really looked into the purpose of a dream catcher other than just catching bad dreams. That's what I thought you did with it. You put it by your bed, and it caught your bad dreams.
I filtered them out.
The legend goes back, especially with the Navajo legend, that they had the spider grandmother. She was the creator of all kind, and she was a protector, especially of young kids. So in order to get her to come through, you would create this circle, and you would create inside of it a spider web. That was her portal. And so if you hung that beside your children's beds, she would come through and she would protect them. She would protect them from bad dreams and demons because like the Native Americans believed that if you fell sick or your child fell sick, that was because there was spirit around that was harming it.
Okay.
They were causing that, not just disease or just a sickness in general, but they firmly believed that it was a spirit causing the pain. And so they believed if they made these and they blessed them and they put their magic into them and they hung them by the beds, that she would come through that portal and protect their children.
Okay.
Isn't that fascinating?
That is fascinating.
I did. I found that really cool. That there's so much more to that dream catcher than just catching the bad dreams.
Catching the dreams.
There's a deeper meaning to
it.
Huh. That they worshipped her. I found it fascinating that they thought that their creator was a woman. I'm just saying. That's a story in itself right there.
Oh, for sure.
But the idea of, once again, creating something because you have a fear to bring you luck, to make you feel secure.
Right.
So they created their own superstition with that by, a fear-based, but they found a positivity from that.
Right. How to turn it around so they didn't have to live in fear per se. Huh, that is interesting.
And something else I didn't know, because I'm all about, I like to carry my crystals, and I like to, I always carry my pockets, and I'm always big on cleansing them. Mm-hmm. But you're supposed to cleanse your dream catchers also. Every once in a while, put them out in the sun to cleanse them and charge them.
Interesting.
I didn't know that either. So, if all of y'all out there carry crystals and you like to cleanse stuff, go cleanse your dream catchers too.
Huh. Yeah. That is interesting. I don't carry anything like that because I forget everything. I lose everything.
Well, that's why I put them in my bra.
Everything. think about that. But
when we were moving, I was going through and I was just stuffing stuff in my bra. Like I wanted to keep it. And then I forgot all about it until that night. And then I took my bra off and I'm like, everything falls and clatters on the floor. I'm like, oh, all right, there's a lot in there. I'm glad I kept it.
It's like your own personal fanny pack. That's funny. All this is padding, so I really don't have any place to put anything. The one about the sneezing thing. The superstition on sneezing. Where the bless you came from.
That is one of my favorites. I remember when I was studying paganism when I was a teenager, my favorite story out of that book was the pagans thought that when somebody sneezed, that they would lose their soul. So they would say, bless you. And they thought they were saving their soul by saying, bless you. A lot of people think that comes from Christianity, and I think, it does stem from that, but it really bred from the pagans believing that you're going to lose your soul.
Right.
And they were blessing you to save it.
Oh, I sneeze super loud. Like, you wouldn't believe that it came out of me. So I may not have a soul.
Oh, gosh. Well, we'll have to get it back.
I was like, some people, they skip right over the bless you, and they're like,
are you alright?
What the hell was that? Like, get yourself under control. And I'm like dying because it hurts so bad.
And so I'm always, saying, bless you, I just saved your soul.
Oh, they also believe that with yawning, too. Your soul was escaping with the yawning.
Yeah, I've heard a little bit about that.
Something that I learned, or ancient Romans and Greeks anyway. Yeah.
Just like in Asia, I'm trying to remember if it was Korea, they are afraid of the number 4. Maybe it's China. It's one of those, but I definitely know it's in Asia. But they are afraid of the number 4. They find it evil. So you will not go anywhere and find like the 4th floor.
There's no 13th floors anywhere. They skip over it, or they use it, like businesses will use it for like the cleaning crew and stuff like that. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, they don't even use, like, when you're counting numbers, they skip over the 40s.
Oh, hell no. No, yeah. I need to ease my way into 50. I can tell you that. I'm going to need my 40s.
But right down to, like, parking spots, and they believe that if you give them something that has the number 4 on it, you're trying to curse them.
Like 666 here in America.
Yeah. Yep.
Or I don't know if that's just here in America. I did read a little stuff about that, but that just creeps me out. I don't like reading about it because it's too negative for my liking.
Yeah. Well, then you get some cultures that say it's 777. That's the true evil number, and I think it's just a number.
They would not put that on slot machines at the casino.
That's what I'm saying.
Lucky 777. I've always liked 7. I don't know why. It's easy to write. But 21 is my favorite number, which is a multiple of 7.
But also too that I liked was in China, if you're at a funeral, they want you to tuck your thumbs under your palms, because they believe that if there's evil spirit there at the funeral, that they will get under your fingernails and go home with you. And
just your thumbnail?
Yeah, right underneath your thumbs. They want you to tuck everything over and hide your thumb, so spirits can't get into your nails.
So just everybody looks angry at a funeral?
Yeah.
Like,
But I thought that was fascinating, too. It's kind of amazing, the little traditions. And I get it. I think we all have little things that maybe aren't necessarily huge superstitions, but there's little things that we do in a routine to make us feel better.
Yes.
And just there's one tradition where I think this is Korea, where if you are buying a new home and you're entering that new home, you have to enter that home the first time with your right foot.
I've heard that before.
That's your best foot forward. But if you step into the bathroom, you need to do so with your left foot.
That's weird. Why?
That I'm not sure. I think it's just for good luck and fortune. Your best foot forward for that door.
That's interesting.
It is interesting.
I'm like, left foot in the bathroom.
It is. It's kind of fascinating how, where people come through. Every single culture, it's so amazing, people's different takes and their ideas and where it comes from. I think we should all take the time to get to know other cultures.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. For sure. That's kind of like, what we're doing with this paranormal thing, looking at things through different eyes, per se.
Yeah.
And not necessarily believing all of it, but looking into it.
Yeah, taking it into account.
Yeah, I find it interesting. I'm gonna look into things that I find interesting.
Well, one of my biggest beliefs is that, in the end, it doesn't really matter what path you're walking on. It all leads to the same end. It's about your journey and what you learn and what you embrace and what you encourage other people to embrace and accept.
Yeah. Just be a decent human being.
Love and light, people.
It's not too hard. It's really not that hard. It's more rewarding than what you think. If you need to be selfish about it, I don't care. Do it for selfish reasons. But if you're doing somebody else good, but you're only doing it because it makes you feel good, I don't care. Well, I mean, that might be bad to say, but
feeding somebody else's soul feeds your soul, and it helps you grow. And I think even thinking about doing good things for people, even if you don't carry it out or have a chance to, even thinking about doing good things for people raises your vibration and brings positivity to your energy because you're putting out good thoughts there. It feels good.
Yeah, just be good, people.
That's right.
So this will probably wrap up episode 2. It was kind of a shorter episode, but we will come back nice and strong. And, bear with us for these few...
The first few times?
Yes. Wow. Thank you. Yes.
Bringing out the rags, so to speak.
Yes. Please bear with us through that time. I said we're new to this whole podcast thing, and I'm so computer illiterate. It is ridiculous, and I'm finding that out.
Well, we're going to have so many great things coming. It's so... I literally spent all week thinking about this and being excited about it.
Oh, me too. Like, I can't sleep, and I get up at 4 a.m. for work every morning, and I'm like, Sarah, you need...
Get some sleep.
Sleep. Yeah, what are you doing? And I just can't help but think about all this cool stuff and that we want to add to the podcast and share with you guys. We will let Mary read a passage from her book before we sign off.
All right. Today is Friday, April 12th. Something to meditate on. Today's energy will test your character. It's time to decide where you stand, especially with your own personal power and as much of it that you give away to others. Where do you direct your energy, and where do you direct your will? Your destiny is about to unfold. What divine truth resides within you? Have high hopes for your future and know that your guides and angels have only your highest interest at heart. You are going to discover new relationships with people that you have spent many past lives with, and bonds are going to form very quickly. Everything is beginning to fall magically into place. This energy is going to drive your emotions to start flowing in every way. This is a great time to use your meditation to touch base with how you are feeling and to gather your emotions together. Ask your guides to assist you in discovering the answers that your soul is seeking. Where do you stand within your own power and within your own truth? What is your purpose? What is the meaning of life? And what is the path that you are supposed to be taking? You are being led to your spiritual truth, and your angels are waiting in the wings to guide you. All of your questions are now going to be solved, and all your spiritual solutions are now yours. Each day you get closer and closer to the truth of divine. A spiritual journey is never ending. It's a never ending story. It's time to ask yourself if your soul is ready to fly. The spirit in me salutes the spirit in you. Mary.
Good job, Mama Mary.
Thank you.
One more thing before we sign off. Today, April 12th, would have been my Aunt Jane's birthday, so happy birthday. Up above to my Aunt Jane. That's what I was doing in the car. I was putting it on Facebook. But anyway, remember, don't yuck someone else's yum. Ever. If you would like to write in with your own stories, questions, or if you have comments, email us at paranormalxl@writeme.com or find us on Facebook on our Paranormal XL page.